I'm really jealous of this generation right now. They get this version of Transformers,
We could have built the future together.
I don't think so.
while I had this version.
I am directly below. Enemy scrotum.
Transformers 1 is a solid 8.5 out of 10. Want to know why? Let's talk about it. Okay, all jokes aside, I actually really do enjoy some of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, but you gotta admit, even for the people that just see them as guilty pleasure films, they are objectively horrible.
Insurance? It's a freaking spaceship. It's your car? Huh?
The untold origin story of Optimus Prime and Megatron, better known as sworn enemies but once were friends, bonded like brothers who changed the fate of Cybertron forever. First off, the cast is absolutely stacked in this project. You have Chris Hemsworth playing the leading man, leading robot, Optimus Prime. And you have Brian Tyree Henry, who is fantastic, by the way, in this movie, playing Megatron. You have Keegan-Michael Key playing Bumblebee, and Scarlett Johasnsson playing Alita. Now, there are plenty of other talents behind this film, but clearly these are the main big standouts, especially for marketing purposes. I mean, you have Black Widow and you have Thor. I will say this though, when you have a lot of talent like this, it's noticeable. And sometimes that can be a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing for this film, but at least for me, the first couple of moments that they were establishing the characters of Bumblebee and Alita, I definitely was thinking, that's Scarlett Johansson and that's Keegan-Michael Key. Now granted, as the film went on and the stories were introducing their characters more often, I started to forget about Scarlett Johansson, Keegan-Michael Key, and really believe that this is Bumblebee and Alita. But speaking about characters, the standout dynamic is the brotherhood and eventual conflict between Optimus and Megatron, as the writers manage to weave in a story of friendship that slowly unravels into a rivalry. But I'll touch more on that later. Now talking about the visuals, oh my god, I love Inside Out 2. It's a well animated film, but I think this might be the best looking animated film of 2024. Cybertron is not just a barren planet, but feels alive, a machine in itself with riveting world building. From the very first sequence where you get the established shot of Cybertron, you are immersed and you are completely buying this entire environment. And it's not just this cheap layer of exposition, how they weave in exposition for people who have no idea about Cybertron. It feels earned and it actually makes sense with the characters that they're showing you on screen. Now, of course, I gotta talk about the action. It's a Transformers movie. Come on, you gotta talk about the action, and it's fun. But what really elevates them is the narrative purpose behind them. The setup makes the action more impactful, especially as Optimus and Megatron embark on their journey trying to find, I think it's called the Matrix of Leadership. I'm not gonna act like I'm a huge lore person of Transformers, but I'm pretty sure Matrix of Leadership. By the end of the second act, the tone shifts noticeably and the film becomes a bit darker. The violence, while still robots, this is still a cartoon PG animated film for, you know, kiddos out there in the world. It can be kind of brutal at some points with this film, especially in the third act. Robots are torn apart or stabbed mercilessly, and it gives the film more weight. Now back to a point that I touched on recently. Optimus Prime and Megatron, their conflict. It's the best part of the whole film. It's honestly the reason why I love this movie. As Megatron realizes things are not what they seem, the conflict becomes deeply emotional, leading to some of the most powerful moments in the movie. People who love Transformers know about Optimus Prime and Megatron. They're enemies. You understand where this movie is eventually going to, and when it gets to that moment, to those moments that hint to the moment, you completely buy into Megatron's shift. It's not something that just switches in his brain. He flips a switch and he's like, I'm evil. Okay, I'm gonna go, you know, enslave my own race and I'm gonna point everybody in this direction. You actually believe in this mindset, because imagine this. You have a faith, right? And you've been devoted to it all your life, and it's all you've been looking forward to. When you wake up every morning, you do your prayers in the evening, and all of a sudden that leader that told you all these things lied to you. How is that gonna make you feel? Something that you devoted your entire life to completely shatters in a moment. You might do some drastic things if you don't have self-control. How the writers brought this character, and through the amazing voice performance by Brian Tyree Henry, gives us something that feels tangible. And this feels natural to talk about, but the themes behind this film of corrupt leadership and the government run heavily in this story, a topic that resonates even today. Despite being a kid's film, it handles these mature themes in a way that both adults and children can understand. Now, for something that didn't work for me, there's only one thing. It's the only downside, and it's a mixed one because I kind of liked it, more so in the third act. But man, in the first act with this character, it got really annoying, and that's Bumblebee. Keegan-Michael Key is a talent, but sometimes his take on Bumblebee can be overbearing. And they actually make fun of that idea of how he talks so much near the second act, I think, when they get captured, where literally a character says, "This guy keeps on talking. We had to like shut his mouth." Was he talking while unconscious? He was especially talking while unconscious. So it's hilarious how the writers even know how annoying their own character is. Not saying I don't love his character now. I actually enjoyed it the more he had time on screen, and especially with jokes that actually landed and genuinely had some wit to it. I can't deny that I didn't laugh in the first half. All in all, Transformers 1 feels like a step in the right direction for the franchise, with top-tier animation, compelling characters, and a story that balances action and depth. Transformers 1 is a fantastic origin story that truly is more than meets the eye. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this review. It really means a lot. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, but most importantly, do not forget to be blessed.